On this episode, I'm going to be showing you 3 methods on how to repair or replace baseboards. This will work on trims such as crown moldings as well, so stay tuned. Welcome to Fix This House. If you're new to the channel, please consider pressing the subscribe and notification bell so you can always be in tune on DIYs, how-to videos, and product reviews that I do within this channel. So once again, friends, we are gonna go repair or replace this damaged baseboard. So a few of you might have some pets or you're moving furniture and you just end up damaging, or this one I actually damaged manually because this is just a mock-up. So method number 1, probably the most obvious one, is just pretty much taking this baseboard off and replacing with a brand new one. With that, it's very easy. Just use your utility knife or box knife. Up here usually is caulked, and then you're just gonna slice that open, and then you can use one of these pry bars. This tool and other tools I use in this video, I'll leave it in the description down below, but you can just use that and use that to pry off your baseboard just like that. Boom, take this out. You're gonna have some brad nails. Take your new baseboard, put it over there, brad nail it, you should be done, and that should be the end of the video. I'm just kidding. That's just method number 1. I wish it was that easy on most cases, but in some cases it's not. Usually your baseboard runs would run around a couple of feet, and you do end up having some corners and inside corners, and those you have to take an account of, and you probably have to take those apart as well and taking out all the brad nails. So it's not that easy. Plus, replacing the whole run could get costly because depending on how long your baseboard run is or your crown molding run, it's just it's going to be costly. And especially if you're just dealing with a small damage like this, as much as possible, save money and pretty much save material, so you end up just want to fix it just right on the spot. Which brings us to method number 2, which is using wood filler. So there's a lot of different types of wood fillers out there. Personally, for me, I just like using these ones. This one's for bigger areas that I need to fill. This one is a little bit more high performance. It's a 2-part. You mix it and it hardens up really fast. I like using this one for little tiny, brad nails, little tiny holes, patch and repair. But either way, whichever you use for wood filler, it works. Again, all this I'll leave it in the description below. But since this is a pretty big area, I don't want to waste these ones right here. I'm just gonna go use my regular wood filler. There are advantages and disadvantages of using wood filler. One of the disadvantages that I'm just gonna point out right away is that it will probably take some time to get the contours, especially if you have complicated style baseboards with different designs. This one is fairly easy. It's just a colonial type baseboard, pretty common baseboard that you could just pick up at Lowe's or Home Depot or your big box stores. But this one, it's not that hard since it only has this groove right here, or this profile where it just pretty much goes, there's a little low and goes to high, the little bump right there that we'll have to build out. And it all comes to just finessing it. And when you start sanding this and when you fill up wood filler, it dries up, you sand it up, and you just try to match it up with the profile. So when doing this, you want to put masking tape or some type of protective sheet or sheet metal on top, bottom, just so you can protect your flooring and your wall. You're gonna have some raised areas right there, and you wanna clean up the surface. So I'm just using my 10-in-1 tool. You wanna clean it up as best as possible. Take out any loose damaged areas. Go inside those little tiny dents and grooves and take out those little excess so that when we start putting wood filler inside those, it will not come loose. You can also use your mini pry bar because this pry bar also has a little type of chisel, sharp scraper end. We can apply the wood filler. What I like to use is a trowel. I like to cover the handle. This is a tip and trick. Cover the handle so that when you get joint compound paint or something like that, you can just easily peel that off. It'll save you so much time on cleaning. Now this wood filler, actually when it dries, it's very coarse and it's kind of like gritty and sandpaper-ish. So just take a little bit at a time. You want to try to not just plop it in there. You want to try to get as much as the contour as possible, because if you do that, it will save you a lot of time later on rather than trying to sand off so much excess. You want to try to get it as close to the contour as possible. There you go. And you want to build it out fairly thicker than the level of this main surf. And notice how we're starting to get those little lines already. And again, it's all a matter of finesse. Touch one end, the good end. Make the other end touch to the good end. If you have a longer straight edge, that works too. If you have a metal straight edge, then you can kind of gauge that and then cut from there. And that's about how far we'll go right now. We'll let it dry. We'll sand it for a little bit later on, and we'll see how well we can fix that. It's just the second method. We'll do the third method. We'll take this off since it's just a mock-up, and we'll let it sit on the side to dry so I can show you right away the third method. And there you have it. So this is method number 3. I actually made this method and I personally like it. If you don't like it, it's perfectly fine. I know in my past video I made it. A lot of people were like saying, why did you make two cuts? Now you have 2 cuts to deal with instead of 1. But this is mostly what I was trying to explain on that video, is that if you have a damaged area like this, you don't want to spend most of that time taking off all the caulking. And depending on how far your run is, maybe you're running about, I don't know, like 50 feet of baseboard, depending on how big your house is. And you just don't want to take off all that caulking, take off all that brad nails off that wall. And depending on the very end, you probably have a 90-degree bend, or you got a corner that you have to deal with, and you have an inside corner that you have to deal with. All that pretty much plays into like a domino effect if you end up taking off all those areas. Method number 3 pretty much demonstrates that you're just only going to take off a portion that is damaged and just replace that part, period. You're going to measure how far the damage runs. So this one, I'm going to leave about 1 inch and another inch on each side. Let's make it nice whole number. Let's make it to 7. So with the extra piece of the same type of baseboard, you're going to cut a 45-degree end on one end. So that's just one edge, okay? And then from the face, not the edge, but from the face of that baseboard, you're gonna measure 7 inches. 7-inch mark, boom. We have our miter saw set to 45. This one's already cut to 45. If you don't, just put this on the other side, make that 45 cut. This side, we're gonna cut this 45-degree. So now we have our 45-degree cut, 45-degree cut, both going on different directions. Make sure that it covers up all that area right there. Now we're gonna take our nail gun. I like using this Nail Force by Works. Okay, well, I got a messed up nail right there. It's fine, everything's just secured. Now I'm gonna be using my oscillating tool. This one's by Works as well. This is what I call now the template. What we're gonna do is we're gonna press this face as best as we could while we're cutting. You wanna cut it as much as against this at the same time, because this is your template. Don't deviate from different angles. You wanna maintain that 45 while you're making that cut. Once you start getting closer to the drywall, just do your best to carefully go as low as possible so that you don't end up cutting your drywall. Go down to exactly the same height as your baseboard, so that if you do end up cutting the drywall, it doesn't show and it will be hidden right behind there. Now we're going to switch off to this one, cutting out on the other direction. So the point now is that we made this cut from our template. Now we can take this off. with your baseboard pry bar, carefully just lift this out. You can use a piece of wood for leverage, just like so. And just like that, we have our damaged piece out of there. I'm gonna take a scrap piece right here, as long as it's bigger than what the damaged area is, flip it over, and then we're gonna use it as a measurement so that we can get that right measurement onto there. We're gonna measure to that top mark, and then we're gonna measure to the other mark as well. We're gonna do it from the inside. It's very important that we do it on the top area, right there. It's very important that you make this angle drawing right here so that you know where exactly this cut's gonna be going towards, so you don't confuse yourself. Same thing for here. We're gonna mark this going to the other direction as well, just like this. Again, we made the 45-degree cut, 45-degree cut, and this should fit and slide in perfectly. Just like that. This front might not be touching, but as it tapers towards the back, you see this? If you move this left to right, there is no play going on. If there's play going on, most likely it's not touching. Okay, so if you move this, rock this back and forth, and it's moving around, you don't have a snug fit, try cutting for a new piece. This one is nice and butted. What we're gonna do now is we're just gonna go and CA glue each side. I'm gonna be using my 2P10 CA glue along with this activator. Again, all the tools and this stuff as well, I'll leave it in the description down below. What we're gonna do now is we are gonna apply CA glue, or this 2P10 glue, on both sides. Now we can load it up just a little tiny bit, not too much, just stay a little bit away from the perimeter. Same thing on this side, and then we're just gonna slide it in. Just like so. Bit of excess coming out right there, just wipe it off. I like to use the activator on the seams so that it'll just instantly activate and seal up. Okay, just like so. So it should instantly come together using that CA glue. It's totally up to you. You can get a brad nail and shoot a diagonal nail going on each side so that you can connect this even further. This is lifting up with the new piece, so that proves that this piece is now one piece combined. Okay, the next step is just pretty much hit this up with wood filler, and then we're gonna go sand it, prime it, paint it, but that's pretty much it. And that's how you place a damaged portion. That's for method number 3. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of this method, because I made this method and it works really well for when I do it for replacements, when I'm doing baseboards or crown moldings. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. So now that we waited long enough for the wood filler to dry, you can see that it's nice and dry now. And you can tell that when we started shaping this, it kind of went with the contour of the colonial style of the baseboard. That's why it's very important that you try to shape it as much as you can so that you can save all that work from shaping and all that, and get all the grooves that you can. I'm using my 180 grit sandpaper with sanding sponge right here. I like to put it right behind to make it easier for me to sand the flat areas. And then for the contoured areas, I'm going to use a 600 grit sandpaper for a lot more fine tuning to get all those details aligned up. So I don't want too much of a grit sandpaper because we don't want to take out too much. We're just going to fine detail all those areas that just needs a little touch up. There's a part right here that I kind of sanded way too much. I can apply more of the sand or the wood filler on this area and then just do a little touch up. But hopefully you get the concept what I'm trying to do here, that it's way possible for you to repair this with just wood filler. You can tell where we filled in the wood filler with the highs and lows of where those marks are. Now it's all nice and smooth. Just build up a little bit right here and it should be ready for primer. Then hit it with a second coat of paint and you should be good to go, and the damage would be very, very minimal now, unless you're looking really, really close at it, depending on how well or artistic you get. If you found all these 3 methods helpful, hopefully you found value to this video. If you did, friends, please hit that big thumbs up, press the subscribe button, notification bell, since I mostly covered most of the baseboard tips and tricks. But if you do want more info or more information on how to do baseboard work, leave in the comment section below. Let me know in the comment section what you want me to do next on concerning trim, and I can make a video of that for you. But at the meantime, I'm going to slowly transition now to the electrical side and how to wire, how to run your wirings and all that kind of good stuff, so I can make this channel more diversified for everybody. Okay, friends, so thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.